Hey there, it's Sunday, March 29. Yeah, I've just been into this for about 15 minutes or so. Got my electric out here, my jigsaw. And I cut the holes, did that in the shop with a little hole saw. So my clamps will hold. And I cut out a little notch here just so I can get around this. And take a look at my first shot. All right, now if we look, you know, this thing, oh, I gotta flip it over. Darn it, I installed it backwards. Because I was gonna look for the line that I drew to see how close I came to the line. And I realized these lines I drew on the back when I marked it for those holes. No biggie. My main intent was to get this up into place so I can mark this cutout here, here, and here. Because I couldn't do that without getting this jammed up in there behind it, behind that. And over here, I took a hammer and I pounded that metal in. Only needed to do it on this side, just to get this behind here, so I can mark the wood. But I think, you know, I'm happy the way it looks, but curiosity is killing me here. I think I'll cut a notch out like that on the other side, flip it around just to see how the fit is. Okay, we flipped it over. This is how it should have been installed in the first place. So you can see my line when I scribed it. So if I wanted to get this closer, I could scribe it again. But you know what? That's close enough for me, because our ceiling is going to come in here anyway. So now I can come over here and I'm going to mark around this and around this, right? And then that. And over here we'll do the same thing. Okay, got a little close there, but that's okay. That's actually just right on the money where I need to be. So let me go ahead and stencil that, or scribe that. Okay, so just run around that with a pencil. Same with that, holding that over there, right? So we got our cut that we have to do. And same on this side. We got that cut. Right, and trim a little bit off of that, and I gotta trim the edge. And when I'm done with that, that piece of wood ought to fit right in there. Now, I'm not sure what's gonna happen with this. We're just gonna go little by little and see what happens. I know with this thin 1/4" plywood, I could just bend this thing, you know, until it gets up in there. But when I cut the 3/4" piece out of this, these screws are going to be hitting, and who knows what else is going to be kind of wonky in there. But all right, man, about that. All right, so we're a little wide right there, but I'm okay with that. Again, we're going to have all kinds of other stuff going on here. We're tight here, and we're tight here, and we're too tight here. 3/4" plywood won't fit in there. When I come over this side, so this clears. We're a little bit loose right here. That's all right. That's a little tight. So I guess I could trim this and maybe trim that a little bit and move the wood over that way, just a hair. I mean, that needs like a 1/16 taken off right there in order to clear this piece. All right, let's give it a shot. All right, we're gonna take off Where'd you go? A little bit from right there. And then a little bit on the top right there. And we won't do anything to that, except this is gonna need a little trim right there. So what we'll do is we'll go, gosh darn it, we'll go from nothing to a little bit right there, just to give us a little bit more clearance, and then we'll fit it again. All right, it's gotten a little bit better. So I push the wood over until we're touching here. And now we've got, I put a line here already. We've got a little bit more to trim on this edge, so that'll clear. And on this side, I think we're good. All right, so, I mean, we could probably trim that just a hair, and we're okay here. I'm gonna clean that off. All right, so that's fits. Unfortunately, this piece of scrap wood that I had wasn't large enough to reach this bottom edge here like I wanted to. So I'm gonna have to do some measuring and ciphering and whatever to make sure that when I cut my plywood, I guess I could just cut it larger than I need and then trim until I get it to fit just matching this surface down here. But so there you go, scribe fit. Well, we're gonna call it a day. I only got as far as cutting out the template where I left off a moment ago for you guys, but hours ago for me. I was just reluctant to go to Lowe's and get the plywood. A little bit lazy too, I guess. So I spent the rest of the day, see all the crud on the ground, scraping the adhesive off, mainly off the bottom edge down here, and a little bit on this to provide a more flat surface. So I ran up both sides. This had a couple of blotches of the stuff on the top of my wheel well, so that's why all the paint is scraped off there. So there's quite a bit of scraping. Took me a long time to scrape all that stuff off of there. And there's some underneath these guys and more there. And yeah, I'm not showing you guys anything special. But that's it for a day. Next week we'll get started back. And I know the first thing I got to do is buy a piece of plywood and get that thing installed. And you know, once that plywood is up there, it won't take that much more to get my air conditioner going. So I wonder if I'll be able to get the AC going next weekend. That would be really great. All right, until next time, Hakuna Matata.